I feel that every time I go to an audition, I try and do something different, something to stand out, something like, dude, this guy's crazy. This guy's messed up, but I like him. So, you know, that's how I try to get my things done.
Indian actor and model Taha Shah is unstoppable in his work. He has done everything to ensure he gets his dream Bollywood roles and shows that no challenge is too great. He has already played almost every role, with his versatility making him a dream to work with.
My first film actually was unexpected. It was Asia's biggest production house, Yash Raj Films, right? And I did not expect to kind of break into that audition and even land that role within the first 6 months of me being here. But when that happened, it was like hitting jackpot, right? Of course, it was a misunderstanding. There's a long way for your career, right? You have to grow a lot in this industry, right? I was just 22 years old at that time. But when that happened, I feel that was my biggest break, because I started off with the top banner, right? Everybody's going to watch you. Everybody's going to look and say, all right, this guy's all right, this guy's all right, I can cast him. So I guess if I didn't get such a big break and I had to do something, let's say, smaller, and people didn't watch it, then my first film, which is a debut film, you never get your debut film in your life again, right? Debut film is just one. So I was very lucky to get such a good break with Yash Raj, and that was the biggest break, yes.
लेकिन पाया कुछ और।
जिस तरफ तू जा रहा है ना, वहाँ सिर्फ और सिर्फ बर्बादी है और कुछ नहीं।
Yeah, I forgot my lines on my first day. It's not that I was terrified. It was just that now I knew that whatever I did right now is going to be on screen, right? It's the final thing. You cannot change this. I mean, in rehearsals, I could do what I want. We can change it up and down, but now the camera is on, right? And this is going to be printed, right? So I was just a bit scared, I guess, right? But it went off really well. The director was very supportive. My cast members were very supportive. There were about 200 people on set, I remember, and it took me about an hour to just kind of just let that go, get the stress out, and say, all right, cool, let's get going. And after that, it was just it went on as a breeze. I mean, every time I start a scene, or even today, right, there's a certain fear in me, right? It's that in my, in that solar plexus right there, it's like churning, right, very fast. But I feel that that energy, if you're really prepared, it kind of converts into positive energy, and it comes out in a way that you are proud of yourself, people are proud of you, and the work that you put behind it has been credited, and that's how it is, that's how it rolls. My inspiration is Al Pacino, right? And I've watched all his interviews, everything that he's ever spoken, Actor Studio, name it, and I've watched it, right? And he has said that know your lines. Like, I mean, I can tie my shoelace and I can tell my lines. I can have a shower, I can tell my lines. I can eat my food and I can say the lines. No matter what the lines are, it can be aggressive, it can be sad, emotional, whatever. The same lines I can say doing whatever I want. I can bounce a ball, I can play tennis and say the lines, right? So that's how I memorize my lines, that I can do it at any moment, anytime, any way you want it, anyhow you want it. So I believe that, and I take his inspiration, and I believe that, and that's worked for me. Whatever it is, it's worked for me, and I keep doing that every time I go in front of the camera or have an audition to do. I make sure to add something different. There was one time, so I got, I don't know if you've met her yet or him yet, but he's inside, he's my pet, right? He's a rabbit, right? And I had bought this rabbit when I was going for an audition, and I took him for the audition, and I started patting him because I was supposed to play a negative character, right? But it seemed very, what do you say, juxtaposition, right? Because of the rabbit is so cute, right? And I'm supposed to be evil, and then I put the rabbit in the cage, right? Which seems like you trap this innocent soul, right? So I tried to add some kind of symbolism to this, right? And I kept him. His name is Paro. Initially, I thought it was a girl, so I named it a girl's name, but I decided to keep it. So I feel that every time I go to an audition, I try and do something different, something to stand out, something like, dude, this guy is crazy. When you do a film in 2011 and your second film releases in 2013, right? There's 2 years of a gap, right? So I think my career highlight was when I did such a big film, like with a big production house, and then suddenly I really didn't know where to go. I didn't know which door to approach, which person to approach. I didn't know the meanings of a PR, of a manager, of an agent. I didn't know the meanings of these things, right? So when I actually got my film released, and then I was actually into the film world, then I had to understand, I had to learn by myself that, okay, what I don't know and I was ignorant, I have to start educating myself, right? So that's what I did. So that's like the biggest highlight. Education has been my biggest highlight, right? So my career high has been when I had to go out and I had to do courses with Chris Edmond, who taught Hugh Jackman. I did courses with Victorian College of Arts, who came down here for 2 months, right? So these have been really interesting courses which have opened me up as an actor, right? To present myself better, to approach each scene, each character in a very fresh manner. And yet, you see, my face is still the same, right? When you have a certain face, you're going to be cast initially in what your face fits, right? Until you become something, and then they will start interchanging you in whatever you feel like. So I feel that my highlights had been the education. My highlights had been times when I have ran across roads to meet a director because I saw him cross the road, you know, and they've completely, like, I'm not going to say names, right? But they've completely dissed me. They're like, get out of here, you know? So that was a big learning. That was like you understand that, you know, I've done a big film. Like I'm even telling you I did a big film, but you don't really care about it, right? So what would you care about? So that's been a highlight, right? So that means I have to change my approach. I have to figure out my weaknesses and try and make those weaknesses my strengths. So these have been my highlights of my career. And recently my film released about, I think 2.5 months back, right? A film called Baar Baar Dekho, in which I got to share screen space with some of the stars of our industry, such as Katrina Kaif, Siddharth Malhotra, right? And these people are really big in the industry, right? But when I was working with them, they had no egos. They had, you think they had egos, you would think so when you go there, right? But they approach you and they're so easily approachable, and they teach you and they guide you. If you ask them, they do guide you. They're not reserved, you know, they're very open, they're very friendly. So I feel that all those judgments that we hold in our head, that this, you know, I can't go there, I can't do this, I shouldn't do that, I might not be able to get this. I feel all those judgments are just wrong. And over the years, the highlights have been that all these prejudgments that I've had has changed, right? It's been broken. And I'm sure that every year, every day, I learn something new, and it's going to just keep going. And all my prejudgments that I keep having, that, oh, I don't think I can approach Hollywood, I don't think they'll approach me, but I think that's going to break, you know, that will break, and you just become more confident as a person, and that's what I strive to do.
Remember to subscribe for all the new hit music weekly. Click here for the newest trends at Dukascopy Fashion. For brand new celebrity interviews at Dukascopy Stars, click here. Got a question that needs to be answered? Try Dukascopy 911.